Hey guys, before I get started, I just want to say thank you for your support on my first video. I think I got 200 views and I got a few comments, few subscribers, few likes, and the few comments that I did get were pretty thought provoking. They were asking good questions about the video, and it showed that people are actually interested in what I was making, and it was just really cool seeing people interacting with the video that I worked so hard on. But anyways, it's just really nice. Thank you for that. And in today's video, I'm going to change the format a little bit because it took a long time to edit my video last time, and I just thought this would be a cooler format. And anyways, in today's video, I just want to talk about social media and survivorship bias. And basically what sparked this video was that a few days ago, I was having a conversation with my girlfriend. And basically she was talking about how she was scrolling on TikTok and she see these influencers who are living such a good life and how she wanted to live that life too. And I was just telling her, a lot of stuff that you see on social media is fake. A lot of these influencers are not really living this good lifestyle. And even the people who try to become influencers, they fail a lot of the times. And even the people who do succeed, who become viral for a few months or a few years, they usually fall off. And a lot of people on social media, they chase that feeling of getting viral again. And they, for example, they post that they go on their honeymoon for like 50K just so they can get some clicks. But in reality, they're not making them enough money to afford that. So it's like a glorified lifestyle. And anyways, after I had the conversation, I watched this video by Vitruvian Physique, and it was a video that was posted 4 years ago, but it's still pretty interesting. And it was basically talking about how someone was reaching out to Vitruvian Physique, and they're saying how they're skinny fat and how they have a belly. And I can't put the photo up because I don't want to upload their personal photo. But anyways, they're talking about how they're like skinny fat and how they have a belly and blah blah blah. But if you look at their physique, it's pretty good still, and it doesn't make sense why they're complaining. But if you think about it and if you understand the problem, when these people scroll on social media, what they see is a bunch of ripped bodybuilders who are like 6% body fat, or they see a bunch of jacked bodybuilders who are benching like who knows like 1,000 freaking pounds or something like that. They compare themselves to people who are the top 1%, and this is because social media only pushes that. So if you keep scrolling and that's all you see, you're gonna think, okay, everyone's living this life, everyone's living this ripped life or living this jacked strong life, and it just demotivates you in a way. But anyways, in that video, that guy was reaching out saying, okay, I'm skinny fat, can I go on a body recomp? And basically a body recomp is where you stay the same weight, but you increase your lean mass and decrease your fat mass. And anyways, the Vitruvian Physique, basically what he was saying was how he was just commenting on the state of social media and how it's skewing people's view of reality. And he also mentioned his own physique and how people are in his comments saying he's chubby and fat. And you can see it right here.
Dude, you got a lot of fats covering up your muscle. The video in question was this, what you guys are seeing on screen right now, and apparently this is a lot of fat.
In the video, Vitruvian Physique still has a great freaking physique. I think in his video he said he was around like 17% body fat. I don't remember. But he also said that if you are at 17% body fat, you're still leaner than 95% of Americans. So even though Vitruvian Physique was in that video still at the top 5% of Americans in terms of body fat, people are still calling him fat and chubby. And that's crazy. But again, it just speaks to the problem that I mentioned before, how social media is pushing this top 1%. But in his video later, Vitruvian Physique mentioned survivorship bias, and that just had me thinking. And in his video, he was basically talking about how survivorship bias plays a major role in social media. But what is survivorship bias? So survivorship bias is a bias where you focus on, or you tend to focus on successful individuals or successful groups, and you tend to ignore people who failed or are eliminated. And a great example of this can be seen in World War II, where there's this research group in Columbia University, that was tasked to determine ways to minimize bomber plane losses that resulted from enemy fire. And in this image right here, that's supposed to represent an image of a bomber plane that would come to them and a plane that they would study. And the red dots are meant to depict enemy fire. And the places where you don't see red dots, that's supposed to depict areas where there weren't as much visible enemy fire when the planes were given to them. And as their goal was to minimize bomber plane losses, logically, the places where you see a bunch of visible enemy fire, that's the places you'd want to reinforce, right? But then the statistician named Abraham Wald, he came in and he was like, no, the places where you don't see any red dots, those are places that you should reinforce, because the planes in our, you could say, data set are the planes that made it back to us successfully. The planes that got shot down and destroyed are the planes that are not in our data set. and likely the areas where there aren't as much red dots, the planes that got shot down and that were not in our data set, they were likely shot in the areas where there aren't as many red dots, if you know what I mean. Like the places that were shot, the places where you do see the red dots, those are planes that were shot but still successfully allowed to come back to us. So those are places that don't need that much reinforcement because even though they were shot before, they still made it back to them safely. So how does this topic of survivorship bias relate to social media? As I mentioned before, social media pushes the top 1% of people. And why is that? Well, let's just say 1,000 people start a YouTube channel today. Out of those 1,000 people, only 5 will probably go viral. And of those 5 people, those are people that are successful. And that content, those 5 channels that are viral, that content is what will be pushed to you. And usually content that goes viral is content that invokes an emotion. So let's say you have a video of a cute dog versus a video of a normal dog. Would you rather watch the video of a normal dog or the video of a cute dog? Obviously the cute dog, because a normal dog you'll see every day when you're walking down the street or wherever. But this cute dog that's like, again, like I keep saying 1%, but top 1% of dogs in terms of cuteness, you're going to be like, wow, I've never seen this before. So you'd want to interact with that video. You'd want to watch it. And that's the video that you'd watch. And other people probably have the same mentality. That's the video they would want to watch. And as a result, that video becomes viral. Then it's pushed into other people's feed. And then that's the video that dominates social media. But let's pivot back to bodybuilding. Let's say you have this physique of this normal guy who has a normal job, whatever, and doesn't go to gym that much, but he's still active. He'll have a decent physique, and he'd post it thinking, okay, I still have a good physique. Hopefully, I'll get some views. But then this is another guy posting his like steroid-filled physique where he's like ripped to the gills. Obviously, more people are gonna interact with that because they don't see that physique often. They see this guy who's maybe a little bit more athletic than the average person. They'll see that guy's video and they'll be like, okay, that's cool, but this video of this guy ripped to the gills, that's cooler. That's something that I don't see often. This is something I would want to watch. And as a result, similar to the cute dog, more people interact with that, and then that type of video will be pushed to everyone's feed, and then as a result, that's what those people will see on social media. So if that's all you see, that's all you'll think is reality. It just warps your sense of reality. And another issue with that is that since the content that is very unique, very rare, like for example, a guy who's ripped, since that's the content that gets pushed, people who do go viral once in their life, let's say someone who's natural goes viral once in their life because they have this great physique naturally. Let's say over time, people get used to him. People are like, okay, this guy's physique is not as interesting now because I've seen it so often. They're going to lose their views and they're going to have to find a way to get those views again. What's their best option if they were viral because of their physique before? Their next best option is taking drugs, taking steroids, so they can get back to the state of virality. So they can be like, okay, I used to have this physique, but now it keeps getting better and better. Come watch my videos. It's interesting to see why I keep growing, right? So because of that, people are going to be like, okay, I want to watch this guy's video. And then he's going to go viral again. But the reason he went viral is because he had to use drugs and steroids. And the reason he had to do that was because social media only pushes that content, the content where people are crazy and crazy rare, crazy unique. And let's compare this to something you could say more relevant. Let's say you're going on vacation and you post a photo of you going to New York, right? Everyone goes to New York, let's be honest. A lot of people go there. But then the crazy influencer who goes to vacation to some random exotic island, his video or photo, whatever, is going to be more interesting because no one sees that. That's super rare. So because of that, people, they want to spend more than they can afford just so they can go to vacation somewhere crazy, somewhere where they'll get a lot of views. And as a result of that, that just encourages people to lose money and waste their finances and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, I'm getting into a little slippery slope, something that I didn't really research too much on. So all I just want to say is that social media is pushing bad stuff, and it props the 1% of creators, and also props those who tend to be, the 1% in wealth or looks, or people who aren't, but do these stuff that if they mention out loud, people are not going to watch their video, right? Like if someone mentions they're using steroids, people are not going to watch their video as much, right? So the social media just pushes these top 1% of people who are either like top 1% genetically or top 1% wealth-wise to be able to afford what they're doing, or like having the physique that they do have, or it's pushing the top 1% of content from people who are shady or like not telling the truth in what they're posting or blah blah blah. Anyways, just don't compare yourself to what you see on social media, and just watch out and be safe. Thank you guys.